Hello and welcome to the Business Weekly Show on Citi TV. The show is a 1 hour wrap of all the top stories making the world of business. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Come along and let's make business news fun again. This is a generation of hustlers. Almost every friend I have has a side gig or two. But it takes more than just passion to be successful in business. And it can even be more confusing when you're not even sure where to start from. For all the entrepreneurs out there, these are tips on how to regularize your operations.
Small and medium-sized enterprises have been the backbone of Ghana's economic and social development for the past decades. They are the major driving force for business development, employment creation, production of goods and services, and internal income generation in Ghana, with an increasing number of people looking to set up businesses of their own. Jones Ansah is the Assistant Chief Company Inspector at the Registrar General's Department, and he explains the steps taken to set up a business.
If I want to set up a business, I think the first step the person needs to do is to get a tin for him or herself that is going to GRA, applying for a tin. Then after you get a tin, you need to come and conduct what they call a search report first. You need to get a search report. You come up with a name that you want to use to conduct a search, whether the name is available for you to use or not. If the name goes through, you go to the bank there, you pick a form. Now you can even go on our website to download the forms, fill it, and then you submit it at the Registrar General's Department. Some of the information we may need is the name of the company, the nature of business, and the registered office, that is as normal, street name, postal address, and GPS address. Then the full names of the directors, their tin as well, their residential addresses, their date of birth, occupation, and nationality, and the stated capital that you want to use. Then how you want it to be shared among the direct shareholders and all that. So after you finish, you come to register and submit it, your documents. Then you leave it with that. Or you go to a section called the Company Inspectorate Division for them to vet your documents, whether what you've brought is in order or not. Then if everything is in order, then you will give you a slip and you go and pay at the bank, then you leave it. Now, if you leave it, for limited liability companies, we normally give 5 days for completion, and sole proprietorship, as layman will call it, one-man business.
Makela Adomako is the CEO of Savory Escape, a food business she started 5 years ago, but recently underwent a re-registration process in line with rebranding her company.
Our focus is mainly on the corporate institutions, yes, because we did a study, we did a survey, and we realized that most corporate institutions find it difficult to get healthy meals on a daily basis. So ours is to provide them on a daily with lunch, and then we cater for events as well. 5 years ago, it wasn't bad, but now things are very smooth at the Registrar General's Department. When you go, it shouldn't take you even up to 3 days to register your company. Yes, you just have to fill the forms. As long as you meet the requirements and then your name is not an already registered business, you can definitely register your business at a fee, of course. Yes.
With the varying business categories one can enter into, institutions such as Ghana Standards Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, among others, play their various roles. Acting Head of Food Division at the Foods and Drugs Authority, Roderick Kwabna-Ejay, gives a breakdown of what people who want to enter into a food business are expected to do.
If somebody wants to register a food product, all that the person has to do is to come to the Food and Drugs Authority, or you can go online. The requirements are there. So normally it's be expected that you pick the form, you fill it, you bring the necessary samples, and then you accompany it with what we call a certificate of analysis. The certificate of analysis more or less bears the different types of tests that you're expected to, do.
After losing her job just before the lockdown, Sylvia Na Ajele Kone decided to set up her own business and is now the co-founder of Freeze and Fry.
I do pancakes. That's all I do. I do it in 5 different flavors. I have special orders for people who do not take milk and then people who do not take eggs. That is upon request.
The business is now almost 3 months old, but she fears she may have to stop operating due to the challenge of paying an amount of 1,200 cedis to her municipality and asks that the FDA makes the required fee affordable to startups like herself.
I have to go through my LADMA assembly and then they are charging so much because they gave us the explanation that elsewhere I could pay 300 cedis for a year, but for them they've put 3 years together so that when you pay you don't have to renew again. But then what if after a year or 2 I do not want to do the business again? If I'm not able to get the money for them, it means I'll have to stop because the online order wouldn't always come. I have to go to the marts and all that. So if the FDA can talk to the assemblies for us so that we pay the annual fees instead of the 3 years in one.
Michaela shares with Citi Business News more on what business owners like herself would want to make the operations easier.
When you're coming up, like your startup business, there should be a different regulation for startups and then a different kind of regulation for well set up businesses. You go to GRA as a startup, you have to pay 17.5%. You now go and pay income tax for your staff. If I'm young and I'm working and I employ somebody, I now have to pay her SNIT. I now have to pay her money is not enough, so I may have to add some more money to her salary so that she can even pay her income tax.
Eating fruits is one of the new habits a lot of people had to acquire during the peak period of the pandemic. I know a lot of friends who would have traded their fruits for a bowl of banku or fufu. But we all had to eat them anyway to keep our immune system boosted. But fast track a few months down the lane, we are recording lesser cases of COVID-19, and a number of the restrictions that were imposed have now been eased down a bit. But are you still eating your fruits?
Getting fruits and vegetables from the fields to the table became extra challenging amid COVID-19, from restrictions on movement to high transport costs and closed markets. The fruit supply value chain also faced some big changes in demand and prices. While the prices of some products jumped up, especially those thought to boost immunity like lemons and garlic, others plummeted. The spotlight that was thrown on fruits in general ended up benefiting retailers, but only for a short while. Even though there was an increase in purchases in the first few weeks after COVID was recorded in Ghana, that spike in demand was negated by the restrictions on movement as well as the closure of thousands of offices across the country. Let's first hear from Faustina Emisa, followed by Ikua from Poma, both fruit retailers, about their experience with sales so far.
Workers be bring full pay. And it's a bosomane ye tuaka ashase na ye to ade pa. Ba kodu ba bi tise 20 afo kwana na obi asika no aka kakra. Nti ye ho no na ya na market no enhye da enkoso. But eye chen aban cars ye start adwuma no. Because that time na me betena me to me ton 40 cedis. As you see akọ me to me ton be 100, 150, 200 nti eye.
Ava se be me to me ton 3.5, be at 3 million. We are 4. They said, yeah, talk about 2 million boy and we could 800, 600.
For the consumers we spoke to about their fruit consumption habits in the early days of COVID-19 compared to 6 months after the pandemic struck, the responses could not have been more varied.
Actually, my boss really love orange. For me, I love orange. So I'm here to get some orange for my boss. I normally do juice with ginger, the orange with ginger juice for my boss. And that is what still I'm still buying. Is the same price I'm still buying. There's no changes inside.
Yeah, we do buy because nowadays I rather buy more than I used to do at first. Because of the coronavirus, we learned if you take in more fruit and vegetables, it raises your immune system. So it's now I've been patronizing a lot. Formerly, a week we spend maybe 50 to 100 Ghana, but now we do more. Now sometimes if I come here, I do almost 150 to 200.
In the lockdown time, my mom used to bring watermelon, oranges, then banana to the house. So we used to share with the family. But now, after the lockdown, we are all just relaxed. Maybe I just pass by the roadside and buy some 1 Citi orange or 1 Citi or the banana for my own self. But for the food budget, during the lockdown time, it was a little bit high, but now there are no budgets for foods again.
Roughly, if you want food like consistently, you won't spend less than 20 cedis, let's say, in a week or you know. But now I'll say yes. So maybe you get like 2 apples or maybe some 3 or 5 cedis oranges. Then I think you are good to go.
For Abiba Mohammed at the 37 Fruits and Vegetables Market, she's not giving up hope of attracting more people to her stand, even though she understands it will take some time for things to return to normal.
Because of the yes, or quite trick no, I can't be open.
Away from fruits now, let's talk about vegetables, another food item that has been in high demand since the outbreak of the pandemic, especially for their nutritional value. Growing vegetables, however, can be a very difficult task using local farming practices. But now, there's an innovative way of mass producing them.
Traders and vegetable farmers continue to complain about price fluctuations each year. This is partly as a result of the fact that there are some of these vegetables that are imported, and other factors such as currency depreciation can affect the prices. Also, some of these vegetables are mostly seasonal and not grown all year round, which causes scarcity at certain times. In order to address this perennial challenge, persons who deal in the selling of vegetables have urged government and other relevant stakeholders to find a lasting solution to the issue by ensuring that the country is able to effectively produce and supply vegetables all year round without depending on importation. In order to address this perennial challenge, persons who deal in the selling of vegetables have urged government and other relevant stakeholders to find a lasting solution to the issue by ensuring that the country is able to effectively produce and supply vegetables all year round without depending on importation. Agatha Emisa, a trader at Aija, sums up the sentiments of the traders.
Yesterday, Oman Peninsula, Duamoya no Hano, Enya Mo, Nabu no Kofo. Nature said the Befi baby banana board and then I acquire into Minton. A hardy and emra, or Muntuminia Hadian, Manemra, Nature said Befi baby baba. I acquire into Minto. Dear fee baby ban, how I the bray say, and a board day. Over quay say, Nebinu, and fancy a car by a penny baba, who quiets in a board day. Near Charmo board into so about Tonga, Nipan about in a board day. Into Sahadi and know what they are, and therefore will be able to me out to be Sra by so my Hadian and ye, no be into me Toby. And a more who is a bind to a boy say, I had no says Skabby on phone rim, now Crawford and Emla.
For an agribusiness consultant with over 30 years' experience in the field, Danakwe, the only way to go is to embrace greenhouse technology.
Greenhouse addresses some few but critical challenges in the country. The moment we move into greenhouse production, we are tackling import of vegetables. The greenhouse offers us the opportunity to do year-round production, so there is no seasonality when it comes to greenhouse, unlike in the open field. So in situations where we don't find tomatoes in Ghana and we have to travel all the way to other countries to go and bring tomatoes because we don't have rainfall or we don't have the right environment, the greenhouse addresses that once and for all.
Danakwe, who is also the Executive Director of Agri-Impact Consult, has so far partnered with the Ghana Exim Bank to set up greenhouses in 6 regions and has been campaigning for graduates to venture into agriculture. In the Ashanti region, the Ghana Exim Bank and Agri-Impact Consult have set up some greenhouses at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Bosomtwe, Edgeso, among other areas. Some young graduates who have started venturing into greenhouses at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have been sharing their experiences with Citi Business News.
So far, so good. It's been so good, and we started the marketing about a month ago now. And people, Ghana now, people are growing. There is a growing concern in what we eat, as in the health-wise. People getting to know where their food comes from. So far, it's been so good, and people trooping in here and there. And at the moment, we've been able to supply ShopRite and some bigger shops in Ghana here. That is good. And I think if there can be, the government can support us expand this particular project, we'll be able to feed Ghana.
Later did I know that agric is very lucrative. I've done this for about, let's say, in 6 months. And every plant that is in this farm, I'm expecting more than 5 kilos from every plant. So if I'm having 1,000 plants, you know the amount of kilos that I will get from greenhouse. So now I am entreating and I am encouraging investors and all stakeholders to come and invest in greenhouse.
Flowers. How adorable. They make so much difference in the environment for making it look beautiful and peaceful. And they make very good presents for people that we love. And speaking about love, if you're planning of getting a bouquet for that special someone, let me show you a place where you can get some exotic flowers grown locally and some very interesting technology.
Though flowers and ornamental plants are largely used for decorations, they also serve other purposes as they communicate different moods. The different types of flowers and the meanings they represent have translated into a good business for decades. This business has many angles. There are the horticulturists dotted along the roadside in Accra who grow their ornamental plants in flower pots, to larger scale producers who combine technology with experience to produce beautiful species for their customers. Despite the importation of flowers, which may not be grown in the country, a number of florists dotted across the country still make their cut. Horticulturist Godwin, who has been in the business for over 35 years, tells Citi Business News the business has been good.
Yeah, need you bebre. Yes, yeah, na ya to mama for the bebre bana o ma behwe na yenso ya to mama. Ye ti o mo se no mo sidua no. Ene ne ayi flowers ne ne ayi flowers indoor plant ne ne ye dua wo awia mu nyina ye kire o mo nyina.
Lately, one can have any kind of freshly cut flowers or bouquet, even though the climate conditions in the country are not conducive enough to grow without importing them. This is where the adoption of the greenhouse comes in. A delicate flower, like the rose flower, though may not grow well under the harsh conditions in the region, can be cultivated under strict supervision and control. According to another horticulturist and florist who has mastered the art, the greenhouse guarantees that the country will cut down its importation of the ornamental plants.
I sell to wholesale to florists, and I also sell to individuals as well. We also do bouquets for birthdays. We do bridal bouquets. We do event arrangements. And we do wreaths as well. Because roses are a very sensitive, complicated flower, it needs to be protected from insects as well as from the sun rays from the sun. So if you notice in this greenhouse, it's got this plastic sheet. It's not just an ordinary plastic sheeting. It's UV protected, because if not, the sun will scorch the petals and to just bleach the petals, and it won't be nice for cut flowers. So it's got a special protecting. And the netting around is an anti-insect netting as well. With me like this, my flowers will last longer, because don't forget, the imported flowers, if it's, let's say it's coming from Kenya, the time It's cut from the farm to the airport, maybe 2-3 days. From the airport to Holland, a couple of days. So the time it gets to Ghana, it could be like 14 days. So the shelf life of the flour is decreasing. But with mine, I'm growing here. You cut and you take. So it's a longer shelf life, and it's more fresher.
A floral enthusiast shared with Citi Business News the therapy he enjoys decorating his home with some of these plants.
I work in the hospital, and it was very hectic and very difficult. So you need to chill up when you come home. And I think the best way to actually relax is to do something that you can fully focus on. Because some say you can play music, you can watch telly and all the rest of it, but I don't think they are effective because they are very destructive. Something can distract you. But with gardening, you need to be very involved. You admire the flowers. It's very therapeutic. Any individual at all needs about two things. Well, there are many things, but the most important thing is your physical and mental health.
With the introduction of the greenhouse to the floral business, it is safe to say that the country could cut down on its importation of flowers, leaving florists and horticulturists in the country better off.
Running a country can be very expensive. Did you know that it will cost over 27 billion Ghana cedis to keep the country running for the first 3 months of 2021? Probably the reason why the finance minister in his recent budget reading indicated that government has plans of increasing the country's debt by $5 billion, the equivalent of over 29 billion Ghana cedis. Now that's a lot of money.
On 28th October 2020, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta presented the first quarter of the 2021 budget to Parliament. The presentation, known as the Expenditure in Advance of Appropriation, has become a usual characteristic of election years to prevent transitional challenges in the smooth running of government for the first 3 months in the year after an election. In his presentation, Mr. Ofori-Atta mentioned that the nation would require an amount of 27.4 billion Ghana cedis to carry on the services of government and also cover government's operations. Here are some highlights.
Mr. Speaker, to support the 2021 budget and liability management, we plan to source funding from the international capital markets. This will comprise the issuance of sovereign bonds of US $3 billion with the option to increase it to $5 billion should market conditions prove favorable. Out of the amount to be raised, 1.5 billion will be used to support the 2021 budget and 3.5 billion for liability management.
Some stakeholders have been reacting to the minister's request.
The IMF is projecting 0.9. This minister has always projected high figures and missed it. So you cannot even trust him. Moreover, we are not at the end of the year. Why can't he even provide us with figures up to September? He hasn't been able to do that, and yet he's giving us so-called projections. The minister had a clear opportunity today to give us at least up to September figures. He has failed to do that. All he's giving us are 2019 figures, and then you jump on 2019 figures and you are drawing conclusions for end of 2020. This is nothing but a political statement. It's just trying to hoodwink Ghanaians. The reality is that this country is broke.
It's the basic things we would have to do. Don't forget, between January and March, the new Nana-Addo administration will be appointing people. They will be going through vetting. So the whole point of this expenditure in advance of appropriation is to provide you with the legal authority to spend some money once you do that. I think our colleagues should wait. When we put the 2021 budget that would capture the things we really want to do in the medium term on the economy, then they will be at liberty to offer some alternatives. We are happy to study those alternatives.
An economist, Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie, says the finance minister's plan for the first 3 months of 2021 is a step in the right direction.
All these things are just to help run government machinery for the first 3 months so that the transition period will not be disrupted. And I think the minister was very careful in mentioning the capital expenditure and that the government is just going to devote 1.9 billion cedis So not much attention was paid to the capital expenditure, and rightly so, because we are just talking about transitional period. And so I'm sure the remaining 3 quarters will place much emphasis on capital expenditure. So this should be adequate. Once we are not touching so much on the capital expenditure, and we are concentrating on the recurrent expenditure in order to run government machinery, it should be enough for government to run for the first 3 months.
Meanwhile, a former finance minister said Tekpe is demanding further scrutiny to justify government's request of the 27.4 billion expenditure for the first quarter of 2021.
If COVID cost is estimated at 2.5 to 3% of GDP, that is what was given to the IMF, and that is what was given to Parliament. You can add it to the deficit at the end of in the 2020 budget, which was 4.9. Let's make it 5. That gives you 8%. The deficit is expected at the end of 2020 is expected to be 15 to 16%. So what is it that's accounting for the 8%? Even when we were supposed to be consolidating as the fastest country that is consolidating in the last 4 years in Africa. There is something systematically wrong, which is not being told Ghanaians.
Another economist and fiscal policy expert, Apia Adomako, however, says government should do more to increase the mobilization of domestic revenue.
If government was able to tax 30% of this economy in form of tax revenue, I think that we might not even need to go outside to borrow any money, because we've been very scared. Government has been very reluctant in taxing where it needs to tax. And government is always concerned about those areas, the low-hanging areas where it is easy. For example, payroll taxes as well as custom duties at the port. But I think for 2021 and beyond, I think we need to move from this paradigm and ensure that government can tax everywhere it needs to tax.
On 31st October 2020, Parliament approved government's request for the 27.4 billion for the first quarter of 2021.
Airtel Tigo users, did you know that government is going to be the new owner of your service provider? The original owners decided to move out of the country, so government decided to step in order to save the jobs of some 10,000 Airtel Tigo workers. But the minority in Parliament also has some concerns about the deal.
Bharti Airtel's board on Wednesday cleared the sale of its joint venture, Airtel Tigo, to the government of Ghana. Airtel, in a statement to the Bombay Stock Exchange on Wednesday, October 28th, stated that the parties are in advanced stages of discussions for conclusion of the commercial agreement for the transfer of Airtel Tigo on a going concern basis to the government of Ghana. It's noted that the proposed deal would result in the government of Ghana acquiring 100% shares of Airtel Ghana Limited, also known as Airtel Tigo, along with its customers, assets and agreed liabilities. On their part, the government says the takeover is aimed at protecting jobs and safeguarding the interest of stakeholders of Airtel Tigo, which has some 5.1 million customers. On the back of this, a telecoms expert, Fuad Chalabi, is questioning the decision for the government of Ghana to take over the shares of Airtel Tigo. He believes the government will not benefit from this move.
We went a long way since this happened, and the market is really we're playing itself. So why don't we let the market regulate itself? I don't understand the need for buying an operator from the government at this stage. Especially that this is not an operator that is making profit, and this is an operator that is the first on the list. I believe it will give a bad signal for so many industries. So we will be in an environment that, like, regardless how I will perform, the government will come and help me. So maybe the move from the government is that, like, oh, there will be loss of jobs or something. But we are in a liberal, open market, and to an extent that at a period of time we had 4 or 5 operators, but the market has adjusted itself, and this is where the merger of Airtel Tigo happened, and this is where the Glow. If we remember Glow before they entered the market, they have made more advertisement than when they were even in the market, and we saw with all the noise that Glow made, they are insignificant now in the market. So with the dynamic of the market and how things is happening,
I don't have any reason why I should go as a government to buy an operator.
Meanwhile, a member of Parliament's Communications Committee, Ras Mubarak, is demanding full disclosure from the government on the new developments with Airtel Tigo.
It's unacceptable that my own government would enter into such an agreement, to use the taxpayers' money to acquire 100% shares in Airtel Tigo, and then they have not had even the courtesy to inform the good people of Ghana what this is all about and why it is happening and how much is involved. So I expect nothing but full disclosure of the details of the transaction.
The importance of washing bays cannot be overstated, especially for the convenience they provide. Now, washing your car in the mornings can definitely not be an option for busy people who have to deal with Accra's nuisance traffic on a daily basis. The bad nature of a number of roads across the country compel their users to clean their cars regularly. The situation worsens during the rainy seasons, where drivers have to drive through very muddy roads. That's why people like Collins and team think washing bays play a very important role, especially because of the convenience they provide.
This is not my car. It's car for our institution, and I'm working with my boss. And once you are working with your boss, sometimes you have to wash the car, make the car neat, so that anytime you are working with your boss, you also feel that, because this is my office. Once I'm moving the car, this is my office, so I have to make the car clean.
Elifiati runs the Kares Car Care at North Kaneshi in Accra. He has been in this business for the past 8 years. According to him, beyond getting a good location, giving quality service to customers is your best bet at retaining them.
How do you get a customers? First of all, I think it's simple. Everybody has a car in Ghana. Almost everybody drives a car. Even if you don't drive a car, you sit in a car. So there are a lot of cars in Ghana. Once somebody knows that if I come here, I can wash my car, he's good to go. They will come to your washing bay. Now, when they come to your washing bay, the next thing is, will they come back again? So then that's when you have to decide on giving them good service and giving them extra than another washing bay will do. So if I know that if I come to this washing bay, they'll wash my car well, they'll use the right equipment, they'll use the right detergents, I'm good to go.
His view is buttressed by Collins, a regular washing bay customer.
When I come here, I just park my car at the filling station and watch them how they have been working. I know how the boys have been working. I think they are fast. When you go to one car, they are fast. When you go to one car, how they have been working, I think I like how they have been working. That's why I bought my car here. I've parked here for some minutes and check how they have been working. I think this place is a very good place.
To ensure customer satisfaction, washing bay operators are beginning to undertake additional services.
Here we do total detailing. So we do waxing, we do interior polishing, hoovering, dashboard polishing, engine wash. And there are some places where cars that don't like a lot of water in the engine. So you have to devise other ways of washing the engine. So anything car we do.
But what are the margins from running a washing bay like?
Okay, I can do numbers when it comes to number of cars. I won't talk about my profit margins. But generally, like it rained yesterday. Today is going to be a very good day. We can do like almost 60 cars. So normally when it rains, there are more dirty cars. So you get more people coming, especially when the sun comes up the next day. You get more cars coming. But between 30 to 60, you can do 30 to 60 depending on how the day goes. Yeah.
Well, in as much as washing bay owners get to make some good profit, operating the business secures a livelihood for the many young folks they work with.
It's very nice. This time there's no job. So if you get opportunity like this, working at this place, so far as they are giving your payments, you don't have any problem again.
Away from washing bays, let me tell you a not so funny story. So like a month ago, my car battery went bad and I decided to replace it. I called one of my colleagues in the office, hi Caleb, and he recommended this guy who deals in batteries and does deliveries too. I thought that was very convenient, so I called this guy up and asked him to deliver the battery. And the batteries worked fine, but for only 2 weeks. Afterwards, the battery left me stranded 3 times in a row. Now when I called this guy, he insulted me and my small car too. And according to him, if I'd bought the batteries from Abosokai, would I be able to call them and complain like I was? Clearly, this guy has no regard whatsoever for warranties. But in an ideal situation, how do warranties actually work?
Due to the technicalities that come with electronics and gadgets in general, consumers usually carry out due diligence to get value for money. The durability and security of the item is thus of great importance to the consumer. A warranty is a written guarantee issued to the purchaser of an item by a manufacturer promising to repair or replace it if necessary within a specific period of time under some terms and conditions. This warranty can be described as the cherry on top. It gives the customer an assurance that in case anything goes wrong with the product within the specified time frame, cost of repairing and replacing it will be borne by the shop or the manufacturer. Unfortunately, the warranties are often not utilized due to lack of information on how it works or doubts about their credibility. Experts in this field say even though customers are informed on the available warranties and how they work, customers need to read their warranty cards after a purchase to stay informed.
A lot of the customers don't like to read because at times there are banners that they have to read but they don't, and also promoters also try to keep them well informed but they don't get to understand. Also, when you buy a Technophone, there's an app on the phone which is called the CalCare app. The CalCare app gives you information about everything on warranty. You're able to even check the status of your phone, warranty status of your phone, and also has a price list of each and every part of the phone.
The customer on their receipt, they don't read. Simple and short. They don't read it. When we give her what they need, I want receipt. When you give it to them, they don't read. And they will come 2 months, and my screen is cracked, so change it for me. How would we change it for you?
A manager of Franco Trading Enterprise, dealers in phones, TVs and other electronic devices, told Citi Business News the warranty often does not cover every repair works. He explains the different warranty packages available to customers.
We have 6 months on warranty on the laptops and the TVs. And this covers, for the laptops, it covers the software issue. When maybe you bought a laptop, we give you the warranty. We have a way of running an installations for the apps, so that maybe you won't send it to any other person to maybe use a drive which will cause maybe a virus which can crash the hard drive or maybe disturb the OS. Yes, screens. It's we call it physical damage. You see, when it happens to physical damage, we don't replace because you are the cause of it. So you pay, then we do the replacement for you. You pay for the screen only. You don't pay for the workmanship. Yes, service. Yes, so that you pay, then we do the replacement for you for free.
A customer who has had a pleasant experience with the process of utilizing his warranty card shared his experience with Citi Business News.
I bought this phone about 3 days ago. Yeah, but I had a problem with the network. It wasn't working. So when I brought it, the guy had time with me and then checked it and then corrected the problem for me. And because it's the warranty, I brought it and then he fixed it for me. And he told me if it were to be the screen, maybe it's to my own judgment that the screen got spoiled. Maybe that one they can't correct it because it doesn't cover, the warranty doesn't cover it. But for other things like the manufacturer defects, yes, the warranty covers it. Sometimes it's on the receipt and then the phone too as well, as you can see. 24 months warranty, but on their receipt they said 7 days, which is 1 week. And that one, when you bring it and then you have a problem with it, they will correct it for you.
Wouldn't it be amazing to have cheaper fuel alternatives for our cars so we no longer have to bother about an increase in fuel price that leads to an increase in transport fares and ultimately an increase in goods and services? That's the cost of them. It will be so amazing. At least we would be able to let our hair down and breathe a little. And for persons like myself who live far off and spend an average of about 200 cedis on fuel that can last for just about 5 days, it will be an even greater miracle. At least I'll be able to save up some money and go on that Christmas getaway with my family and kid. That'll be fun. And the great part about this alternative is that it's even more environmentally friendly and will eliminate all these fumes coming out from our cars. For many car users, the cost of fuel is a major concern, so much so that it even influences the type of cars they purchase.
In the first place, I'm a family man, and then the price that I spend for a day is like 180 cedis for my, like, the fuel, the type of engine I use. So for 180 cedis for a day, that is, maybe I can gain somehow. It's not all that much, but you cannot be in the house whilst people are working, and maybe so you just, I mean, it's a sum of frustration anyway. It's somehow, you know.
But while Silas Entry, a driver, worries about the cost of fuel and how it impacts his business, others like Pamela Kakpo have other concerns.
I think that's very bad because this black twin, sometimes someone has asthma, and when the person passes by, like, the person can have this kind of, like, attack can come, and that's very bad. So I think they should work on their engines so that, like, it doesn't pollute the atmosphere that much for others to suffer from the attack or something.
In accordance with the World Health Organization's guidelines, the air quality in Ghana is considered unsafe. The most recent data indicates that the country's annual mean concentration of PM 2.5 exceeds the recommended maximum by 250%. Contributors to poor air quality in Ghana include the mining, forestry and cement industries, aluminium smelting, vehicle emissions, and waste burning. Seasonal variations in pollution exist, with highest levels occurring in December and January due to dust blowing from the Savannah Desert. Available data indicates that Accra has consistently high levels of air pollution. But what solutions are available to address the fuel cost concerns of vehicle users while addressing the environmental concerns?
So this is how we start the car. It's basically soundless. The car has started. The only way to tell is by this ready sign here.
Solar Taxi Limited is a green energy company that seeks to create environmental, social and economic impact in Ghanaian communities by harnessing the renewable energy of the sun and using it to power vehicles.
Okay, so at Solar Taxi, the fact that you don't get to buy fuel and the vehicle doesn't have an engine to even emit fuels. So in a nutshell, it's actually saving the environment from emission and fuels and saving the environment as well. So you get to use just electricity, which doesn't really even cost much for a daily usage.
Elom Azasu is a finance associate at Solar Taxi, and he explains the brain behind the company's business model.
The initial purchase or the initial capital to purchase the electronic cars are quite high. But then in going forward, the expenses that you incur running the car is very low compared to the 4 cars.
Okay. So, and then obviously the environmental...
Yeah, it's also helped to the environmental, the greenhouse effect and all those stuff. It doesn't emit emission into the environment. Yeah, so I think that's...
With all the advantages electric cars have, traditional car users like Silas still have some reservations.
I don't think Ghana, okay, I don't know, maybe we are an advanced country. Yes, you can, I'll go for it, sir. But I don't know how this car will work or last for me to work as a driver anyway.
Now, away from memories that ended in tears, now these are one of the coolest set of furniture I have ever seen. Someday when I have my own garden, I'll set these up and just sit and watch the sunset with a glass of juice, you know. But away from all of that, let's talk about the business of making furniture from cane.
Located in cantonments is a workspace for carpenters, weavers, seamstresses, and craftsmen producing various forms of furniture and artworks using locally grown materials like cane, rattan, bamboo, and seagrass. The space has been in operation for over 20 years, and the workers have formed an association called the Switchback Road Cantonments Association. After several minutes of looking at the creative works produced, I spot a customer who has just purchased 100 pieces of baskets. Her name is Rita Amakunedu, and she tells me she buys them in bulk to sell at her own shop in Accra.
Some people use it for engagements, and some people use it for parties, so they will order me so that I'll come and buy it here so that they'll come and take it. Somebody is going to use it for engagement parcel. At this time, the business is down because of the COVID. It's because of the social gathering. So some people are afraid, so don't buy things like first.
Activities of the over 150 workers are coordinated by their General Secretary, Francis Opuni, who takes me through the various processes of making some of the furniture.
It's beginning of our work. It's prepare a raw material. This one is rope, but we call it dua. This one is cane. These are those, they brought it from Western region. This one is stone. I told you we have different kind of chairs. This is weaving chair. If you see them, and you see how he started doing his weaving. If you get this raw material, it's crooked one. You won't get it straight unless you straight it. Yeah, so this is how he used to straight it. He used gas, then you see how he's doing. So after that, he's coming to bend it like anyhow he wants it before he gets a chair like this. Yeah, before he gets a chair like this.
He goes on to tell me the price of a set of cane chair or sofa is selling at between 1,500 cedis to 2,500 cedis. It could be higher, however, depending on the design. Also, one could get a neatly woven basket for between 10 cedis to 60 cedis, whereas a cane wardrobe costs between 800 to 1,200 cedis. Vice Chairman of the association, Kwabna Boatin, tells me business was good the year before in 2019 as well as at the beginning of this year, but came to a standstill with the onset of the pandemic. He, however, remains hopeful that things will pick up before the year ends.
This year, because enye yale na start ya na nka manfo efram no ne bank kakra be busa yemu but yale no buy anything no ama eteko but yale no san say blast no manfo start bank kakra.
The industry, however, faces some challenges which could stifle its growth. A major one, according to Mr. Opuni, is the difficulty in getting raw materials such as willow, bamboo, and cane for their production.
The raw materials, they brought it from Western region, but the forestry department, they don't give them permits to get the cane. So sometimes we struggle. Even today, I wake up about 2 o'clock, rise to Accra, but I did not get cane. I want the government to allow our workers or tell the forestry department to give them permit so that they will get cane and we also get some to do our work.
He, however, admits to training they receive from the Forestry Commission, but believes more can be done to help the association.
Sometimes they brought some people from China to come and train us. Last 2 years and last year, they brought some people from China to Kumasi, and we go there and train. But this year, because of the virus,
that'll be all for this edition of the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV. For more news, check out our website, citibusinessnews.com. For more on the latest in the world of business, check out the business dashboard at 7 p.m. sharp on Citi TV. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for watching. Catch you next week and bye-bye.